I think we forgot how good of a starter this guy is. I think, being out as long as he was and, kind of seeing him pre-injury last year, probably wasn't this version before he kind of went on the IL and had the surgery. This guy's a really good Major League starter. So I think the only concern about him starting isn't his ability to be a good starter, but it's his ability to stay healthy over the course of a year, and he hasn't done that yet. So I think all information's got to be considered. But do you want a really good starter to start in a big league game? I would think so.
How much longer are you expecting Gary Spancha to suspend in Norfolk?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to that right now. So I think over the next few days, we'll see how his rehab goes and how he's feeling and everything that is kind of associated with that. And then we'll probably go from there.
It's been 4 months since you took over the job. 4 months today. What's the most important thing you've learned in those 4 months?
Yeah, I think the most visible thing, it's the second time I've been asked this question today, and I got a good answer for you, and it's the truth. The most visible thing is what happens in the game, right? The bullpen moves and the pinch hitting and, the win-losses, as it should be in a lot of ways. But I think probably the most important thing for a Major League manager is actually what's going on in the building, what's going on in the clubhouse, what's going on with the staff, the connection, the collaboration, front office, down through the coaches into the players, the culture that you create on the team, the freedom and looseness that you try to get your team to play with. So to the fans and to the people in the stadium, what's on the field, what's on the grass and dirt, they probably think is the most important, but I promise you is the leadership and culture part far outweigh the actual in-game stuff for me personally. But you need to win, so you better do the stuff on the field the right way too.
Yeah, last night after the game, you talked about having a couple of young players who are able to handle failure. How rare is that for young players to be able to handle that?
I mean, it's really unique. We've seen, guys who have been here, staff members and you guys who've been here for the last 5 years, we've seen some really good players come up, and we've seen them all handle failure differently, and we're watching them all handle it differently right now. Because the reality is, even though some of these guys got a year, 2, 3 years in the big leagues, they're still really young players in a lot of ways. So you see some guys handling it good, some guys not so much, and then you see, Beeve start to take down and hit a big homer last night and have a nice night. And, he told me in the dugout, he's joking around with me before the game, that if he didn't help the team win tonight, jokingly, he was going to shave his head. So just a super loose, carefree, not stressed out mentality. Love it. And then you see Sammy right there, who he probably thought this was going to be a little bit easier, because I would assume that up until this point, hitting in professional baseball hasn't been that hard based on what he's done. It's probably not going exactly how he had probably scripted in his mind, but he keeps getting big hits. And that ball, the pitch that he hit, he hooks it, keeps it fair down the line. It's a huge hit for us. So the split that he took off Sir Anthony in Toronto and hit it off the wall in left center, that's unique stuff. You don't see hitters do that, whether they're young or old. So just another example of a guy hanging in there and managing his failure.